They just exposed the biggest fraud in American history. We talking billions gone. Over 1 million Americans had their identity stolen, and the government sat there letting it happen. And while that was going on, the Senate was out here stabbing you in the back again. And of course, the government still brags about how good they are at taking your money. They robbed you blind. Let's roll the clip.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Matthew Gagliotti, and I'm the head of the Justice Department's Criminal Division. Thank you all for joining us today as we announce the largest coordinated healthcare fraud takedown in the history of the Department of Justice. Today marks a decisive moment in our fight to protect American taxpayers from fraudsters and to defend the integrity of America's healthcare system. We are announcing today charges against 324 defendants for their alleged participation in healthcare fraud schemes involving approximately $14.6 billion in false claims submitted to Medicare, Medicaid, and other healthcare programs. In a takedown this large, I can't possibly describe all of the work that went into dismantling each scheme, but there are 4 key points that bear emphasizing. First, let me be clear about what these healthcare fraud schemes mean for every hardworking American family. These criminals didn't just steal someone else's money. They stole from you. Every fraudulent claim, every fake billing, every kickback scheme represents money taken directly from the pockets of American taxpayers who fund these essential programs through their hard work and sacrifice. And when criminals defraud these programs, they're not just committing theft. They're driving up our national deficit and threatening the long-term viability of healthcare for seniors, disabled Americans, and our most vulnerable citizens. This enforcement action involves the seizure of cash, as well as luxury vehicles and properties, returning real money to American taxpayers and to our government healthcare programs. Second, we are seeing a disturbing trend of transnational criminal organizations engaging in increasingly sophisticated and complex criminal schemes that defraud the American healthcare system. As part of this takedown, we've identified and charged defendants operating from Russia, Eastern Europe, Pakistan, and other foreign countries. These individuals have infiltrated our healthcare system to steal American taxpayer dollars. As just one example, we dismantled a scheme involving a sophisticated operation run from Russia and Eastern Europe that strategically bought dozens of medical supply companies in the United States and submitted more than $10 billion in fraudulent healthcare claims to Medicare. To make matters worse, these perpetrators used the stolen identities of more than 1 million Americans spanning all 50 states to perpetrate this scheme and submit these false claims. But I'm pleased to report that federal agents intercepted and arrested key members of that organization at U.S. airports and the U.S.-Mexico border, cutting off their intended escape routes. The days of transnational criminal organizations using the American healthcare programs as their personal piggy bank are over.
Yeah, you heard it right, man. 14.6 billion, 1 million people, foreign criminals, Russia, Pakistan, Eastern Europe. They bought fake medical companies right here in America, then ran up billions in fake medical bills, Medicare bills, excuse me. And guess whose name they was using? Yours. They let this run for years with our tax dollars. And if that ain't a wake-up call, I don't know what it is. I really don't. Honestly, I didn't realize how exposed I was until it got personal. My number was out there. My old passwords out there. And the crazy part is I thought I was being careful. I don't click weird links. I use very strong passwords, but none of that matters when your information is already floating out there in the internet. And it's not just social media either. It's your email, your bank account, your whole digital life. And this is why I use Aura.com, the sponsor of today's video. They remove your personal info from data broker sites. They scan the dark web 24/7 and alert you the moment your information shows up in a leak or breach. They monitor your credit, your bank accounts, and your social security number. They even bundle in a password manager, antivirus, VPN, and identity theft insurance, all in one app. Since using Aura, I've seen my data pulled off over 20 broker sites. Imagine how much of your info is out there, celebrity. If you've never checked whether your information has been exposed, now is the time. Go to aura.com/kingdomreacts and start your 14-day free trial on us. By the way, that link is in the description. You might be shocked at what's already out there. I was, but at least now I know I'm protected, and I know I'm doing my part in helping you protect yourself. Now, you see why I don't play about none of this. But I want you to hold on, because it definitely gets worse. Because while your identity was getting stolen, while foreign criminals were running it up, look at what the Senate was doing, y'all. Watch this.
Okay, y'all, come on in. Leave the door cracked because it's a breeze blowing outside, okay? But I got some tea, so come on in. The largest healthcare fraud takedown in the history of the Department of Justice just happened. They brought charges against 324 defendants. I had to write this down because y'all know how I am. I want to get the numbers straight. Okay, over 14.6 billion in false claims, y'all. Let me tell y'all. Let me give y'all the details. They seized cash, they seized luxury vehicles, and they seized properties. Transnational criminal organizations. Russia, Eastern Europe, and Pakistan, among other countries, but those the big three, okay? They bought dozens of medical supply companies in the U.S., and they submitted over $10 billion in fraudulent claims. They sure did. And they used stolen identities of over 1 million Americans, y'all. What else happened? They arrested their ass at the Mexico border. Couple of them was at some airports, but for the most part, they arrested their asses at the border, trying to get away because, you know, they said the jig is up, so they was trying to hurry up, but they was, you know, USA, we hit that Dikembe. No, you're not going to be escaping this. You're finna go to prison. 74 defendants included medical professionals that fueled the opioid crisis. So they was making money off of people who they got addicted to opioids. So basically, it was a double whammy for them. They was making money hand over fist. And apparently they're going to prosecute them as drug dealers because technically that's what they were. Ain't that some shit? Okay. $1 billion of those, $1 billion of those claims came from fraud. Let me tell y'all this. This is the most disgusting part, right? Performing unnecessary skin grafts on dying patients. And guess what the patients were? They were elderly and disabled. That is disgusting. And they need to be prosecuted to the fullest extent of the law. I'm sorry. I don't feel sorry for them. That was absolutely wrong. Those people could not die with dignity. They died getting unnecessary skin graft procedures. That for what? Just so they can make some... Anyway, I don't even want to get mad about that again. In other news, Grand Ayatollah Nasir Shirazi, he issued a fatwa against President Trump. And I said, what the fuck is a fatwa? Well, I had to look it up.
Okay.
Basically, it's just a scolding. You know, I just want to say that you were bad for what you did. Well, what did he do? He said he talked bad about Rock and Roller Ayatollah. Him and Yahoo was talking bad about him. And it was like speaking against Rock and Roller Ayatollah is like speaking against God. I don't understand because our president, Donald J. Trump, vetoed the plans to Rock and Roller Ayatollah. Trump was like, I don't want nobody, just, you know, let go of the nukes or whatever. So, you know, that punishment was like cutting off a hand or, you know, all this other stuff. Listen, baby. Rock and Roller Ayatollah is 86 years old. He's a senile old man who just keep issuing threats. Leave our president alone before we have to show you why we call him Donald John Quavius Trump. Okay? He is not nothing to be with. Now leave him alone. He let it go. Y'all just have peace. Just leave us alone, okay? And keep our name out your mouth. All right? That's all that happened in a nutshell, and I'll talk to y'all later. All right.
Bruh, skin grafts on old people who are dying just to build Medicare? selling opioids, getting people addicted, then cashing out on all this. This wasn't just some little scam, yo. This was pure, excuse my language, I'm about to say, this was pure fucking evil. Evil. They even tried to run. Caught some of them at the border. And while all this was happening, look at what they were doing, man. The folks, the Democrats, the folks you elected, supposed to be looking out for you. Look at what they're doing.
Okay. What do we got? On this vote, the yeas are 56, the nays are 44. 3/5 of the senators duly chosen and sworn not having voted in the affirmative. The motion is not agreed to.
Yep, the vote failed, huh? Check this out, man. The Senate voted to stop illegal immigrants from getting Medicaid. They had enough votes. It passed, but nope. Some Democrat lady up in there, how you say that? The parliamentarian? Whatever that means, I'm sorry. Came in talking about, it don't count. You need more votes. Change the rules after the vote, so guess what? It failed. Is that not cheating? Straight up. They ain't got no problem taxing you, but they got all the excuses when it's time to protect your money. That ain't broken, man. That's design. But hold up. I want y'all to watch this.
And I did this in part because Wilfred's here and he can talk about the UK trade deal. But just this is the monthly numbers. And they have gone up a lot. June is actually set for another big increase of $27 billion. That is money coming into U.S. coffers from tariffs. We are collecting a lot of revenue. So far, guys, $121 billion has flowed into the U.S. government since the start of the fiscal year. It's still a tiny portion of the overall revenues that the U.S. government gets, but it's increasingly a lot, especially we haven't seen it in terms of the consumer paying off higher inflation. How much we've been collecting.
So they know how to take your money. $121 billion in tariffs this year, I guess. Another $27 billion coming next month. Look how quickly they count you out when it's out your pocket, though. Ain't nobody changing no rules for that. They got a whole system for getting paid, but when it's time to protect you, all of a sudden it's complicated. Bro, it's a scam out loud. And what do I always say after we watch a clip? It gets worse. Shout out to my girl, Caroline.
Out the world. At the top is Switzerland. They're only paying a quarter for interest rates. Cambodia, Japan, Denmark, Thailand, Botswana, Barbados, Taiwan, Bulgaria, Cuba, Sweden, Morocco, Cabo Verde, South Korea, Algeria, Canada, Albania, Libya, Malaysia, China, New Zealand, Trinidad and Tobago, Czechia, Bolivia, Australia, Costa Rica, the Bahamas, Kuwait, Papua New Guinea, Bosnia, United Kingdom, and the UAE are all paying lower interest rates than the United States of America, which has one of the hottest and strongest economies in the world. The president sent this note to the Fed chair. It says, Jerome, you are as usual too late. You have cost the USA a fortune and continue to do so. You should lower the rate by a lot. Hundreds of billions of dollars are being lost, and there is no inflation. And the president is right. There is historically low inflation thanks to his policies, and we will continue throughout the world.
Jerome, you're too late. You've cost America a fortune. Bro, facts. I mean, they rob you with taxes, they rob you with fraud, and then when that ain't enough, they rob you with interest rates and inflation, interest rates, excuse me, like my arch enemy right now. It's created my villain arc. But everything's under the Biden administration was definitely more expensive. Groceries, I'm not sure how rent is right now, but definitely gas is less expensive. That was all a scam for sure. And some of them people that was behind the scenes in the deep state running it still sitting in those offices collecting checks off of our struggles, y'all. This ain't broken, man. It seems that the system was somehow built like this. Biggest fraud in American history. Guess what? It ain't just them. It's the whole system. It's one big scam against you, against me, against us. They robbed us blind, man, and I don't even think they done yet. Y'all be safe. Go check out somebody today. You can quite literally be saving their life. Peace.